Okay, Andy. Good morning, everyone. So, online students, can you hear my voice? So, the last class, based on one exception handling process, we written one program. So, before that, I given the total notes related to exception handling. Anyway, the disturbance which is occurred from the application is known as exception. The process used to handle the exception is known as exception handling process. In exception handling process, we are using three blocks. One is try, catch, and finally. These blocks are executed automatically when the exception is raised. That's the information. So try block will hold the statements which are going to raise the exception. Means simply you can say try block will hold exception lines. When the exception raised in try block, then one object is created for exception type class. One object is created for exception type class, and the reference of object is thrown onto catch block. The reference of object is thrown onto catch block. In yesterday's program also, one built-in exception, one user-defined exception, both I kept in the same program. I kept it. Whenever it is a built-in exception, execution control is creating object and throwing the reference. If it is a user-defined exception, we are creating object, we are throwing. So there only hope in the programmatical form, some confusion will be there. Study demo exception 4. Here, this is extra added. I'll show today. Okay, right. Now this is the program. Here one exception is there. Here we defined one exception. So at a time, only one exception will be raised. Both will not be raised. If this exception is raised, means control will come to this catch block. This exception is raised, means the control will come to this catch block. Now, when exception raised in try block, then one object is created for exception type class, and the reference of object is thrown onto catch block. Catch block will hold object reference thrown from the try block, and the required message is generated from catch block. So this one I must explain now. Try catch. I must explain this try catch diagrammatically how object is created. That only your target. Okay, right? So to explain these notes now, these are all categories: throwable, one, parent, error, exception, and so on. Okay, right? Now here, execution flow of above program, right? Execution flow of above program, right? See there? Look here. Now, you have to observe it now. I'll draw two diagrams. One diagram for built-in exception, right? You have to observe it because built-in exception, we are not creating object. So the built-in exception name is input mismatch exception coming from the library. And the second one is user defined exception. User means programmer. User defined exception means we are creating object. The 2 points you have to observe it. That only basic for our chapter actually. If you understand that, remaining programs you can convert, right? Okay, see that. So anyway, only one program is there here. Demo exception 1. I not written any subclass here. Only one class I written, that is demo exception 1. First class will be loaded, no? Right? First class will be loaded. But when the class is loading now, in the inheritance chapter, parent will be loaded first. Yes or no? Parent will be loaded. But exception also having one parent, that is throwable. Yes or no? Yesterday's diagram, throwable. Throwable has one parent known as serializable. So first who will be loaded now? Serializable, throwable, exception. Then only our user defined class will be loaded. That is the theory. Okay, right? Like this. In the diagrammatical form now. Sir, first serializable is coming. First serializable will come. First serializable interface will come. After serializable interface now, throwable will come. Throwable class will come. Of course, here to here we had implements. Now, in this throwable, how many constructors are there yesterday? How many constructors are there in throwable now? Sir, throwable is having 5 constructors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Observe? Right. So I am highlighting the second constructor. I am highlighting. What is the second constructor now? Throwable of string. I am highlighting throwable of string. Throwable of string. Now, this throwable will have many methods actually. Among that methods, I am highlighting 2 methods. Get message, one method. One method is print stack trace. Print stack trace, 2 methods. Daily in Advanced Java JDBC I used this e dot print stack trace. The method belongs to throwable actually. After this throwable loading has been completed, exception will be loaded. Exception class will be loaded. This exception class extends from here. Extends from here. Already yesterday diagram is there. Exception is having 5 constructors here. I am highlighting second constructor, exception of string. Exception of string I am highlighting. And remaining constructors I am not highlighting. Exception class do not have any methods. Only constructors are there. Once the exception loading has been completed, then our user defined class will be loaded. Our user defined class will be loaded. That is demo exception 1. The class will be loaded. Our class will be loaded. Our class will be loaded. So in our class now here, demo exception 1, I took one constructor, that is string. Constructor, I took one constructor. Demo exception message, string message, I took it. And one main method is there now here. Main method. So public static void main method is there. Already you know from day one, main method will get the memory within the class. Once main method got the memory within the class, sir, it is automatically copied onto Java stack. So it is automatically copied onto Java stack area. So automatically coming onto Java stack area. So the main method is loaded onto here. So main method loaded onto here. Our main method loaded. In this main method, scanner, yes, we are not highlighting this diagram, is equal to 0x111. I am coming line by line now, scanner. Here some try catches are there now. So try. Under this try I had enter the basic salary. All of you can see this, right? Now I am entering basic salary is equal to 12.34. Exception no? Yes or no? Right. Here I am raising the exception. Exception raised or not now? Right. I am reading non-integer value. Right. Okay. Now execution control will be coming linely. Line 1, line 2, line 3. I am reading one float value, but you want one int value disturbance. Whenever the disturbance comes now, execution control immediately identifies. Execution control will have many algorithms. So many internal algorithms will be running with that execution engine means one processor. So your virtual machine processor. So it has many internal controls. So immediately it triggers many algorithms to find the disturbance occurred because of what reason. So immediately the algorithms will find the disturbance is because of input. So immediately call that input mismatch exception. So to call that input mismatch exception, already you written import java.util, already there. Right? Okay. Now immediately they'll go to util package and find that input mismatch exception. Now to handle this exception, input mismatch exception class is loaded. Input mismatch exception class is loaded. Input mismatch exception class is loaded. See there, before loading that input mismatch exception, is there any parent available for input mismatch exception? You have to cross check it. Okay, right. For that, let me cross check. Any parent is available for input mismatch exception. Java P java.util.input mismatch exception. Input mismatch exception extends from no such element exception. No such element exception. So input mismatch exception is having one parent. The parent is no such element exception. No such element exception is the parent. Now, who is the root of your exception handling process? Who is the root now? Throwable is the root. Yes or no? Throwable has two categories. One is error, one is exception. So, the exception should come under exception only. So, definitely link must be there. But the link is not there. I drawn a green boxes above, no, separate. So, definitely the link must be there. Let us search. The link is available or not. No such element. No such element. No such element exception extends from runtime exception. Can you see this? Runtime exception. Sir, they are linked to runtime exception. They are linked to runtime exception. Runtime exception. Already you know, this runtime exception is extends from exception. Yes or no? Na? Yes or no? Right. So this runtime exception is linked there. Now finally, that input mismatch exception comes under exception family. So like this. These are the links. Now, input mismatch exception class loaded. Input mismatch exception class loaded. That input mismatch exception object is created. One object is created automatically when the exception raised. when the exception raised. When the exception raised, I given one object is created for exception type class. That only input mismatch exception. Now, the reference of this object will come here. From where the exception raised, that will come here. From where the exception raised, the address will come here. Now, from here, here one try block closing is there. Here, catch input mismatch exception IME. Input mismatch Now, this address location will be thrown onto here. This address location is thrown onto here. This address will come here. One object created, the reference is thrown. Actually, the reference is thrown. Here exception K means control will come to catch block directly. All of you observe this point now. Coming to catch block directly. Sir, in that object, what is available? In that object, actually messages will come. Generally messages will come. Built-in exception, no, we never write any messages there. But the methods will come. We are not highlighting any methods there. We are keeping them empty. So educating you, one object created, reference is thrown onto catch block. Because the control is coming to catch block, and from here the message will come. From here the message will come. So from today, exception handling means one object created for exception type class. That only I written here. When the exception is raised in try block, then one object is created for exception type class and the reference of object is thrown onto catch block. Catch block will hold the object reference thrown from the try block and the message is generated from the catch block. That only concept. One object created, reference thrown. If it is a built-in exception, we never get the clarity because it only will do all the work, right? Now the same work we have to do manually. That only user-defined exception. In your graduation study, what they will do is, they'll take one arithmetic exception or any array index out of bound exception, they'll give a notes. Student will think that only exception because try catch is there. But there, the developer will not do any action there because already automatical, no? I drawn the diagram is automatical diagram. Whatever the diagram I drawn it as, that is automatically done. Object created, reference thrown, all are done automatically. So we are not involved. But I drawn the diagram to educate you. In the background, the exception type class is loading. The reference is throwing. Now the same knowledge, let us apply for user defined now. See there. I am entering into user defined. So here exception not there. Imagine it. Here exception not there. I am reading the data correctly. Imagine it. Whenever I am reading the data correctly, here exception not there. If exception is there, control will go to catch block directly. If exception not there, I am coming here. Now, suppose I am reading the data. Instead of 12.34, I am reading 1200. I am reading 1200 is a int actually. So here exception not there. Now the control will come here. Here one condition is there now. What is the condition here now? Sir, if basic salary less than 12,000, exception is raising or not now? Here exception is raising now. Sir, now exception is raising. Now in this if condition, exception is raising. In this if condition, exception is raising because basic salary 1200. 1200 less than 12,000. It is true, no? Right. True means exception raised. I made a statement here yesterday. The rules. The class must be extended from exception. Means if you are defining your user defined exception, your class must be linked to exception. If it is linked to exception, because exception is the category under throwable. So it is linked to throwable indirectly. That is the first step. Second step, one parameterized constructor you must declare. So you declared one parameterized constructor here to pass parameter to your parent. Okay, second step. Third step is nothing but define condition to raise the exception. Okay, I defined one condition saying that if the basic salary is less than 12,000, I am defining it as a user defined exception. So raise the exception. What is the next step I written now? When the condition is true. Now the condition is true because 1200 less than 12,000, it is a true now. When the condition is true, then raise the exception. So raising exception means what? Means create object for user defined class. If it is a built-in exception, they are creating object. If it is a user defined exception, we have to create object. So create object for user defined class. Okay. I am creating object for user defined class. Here we had demo exception 1 OB is equal to new demo exception 1. I am passing one message as parameter, means invalid basic salary as. Down, I am returning here throw OB. Throw OB and write. So the two lines now. Now first line is executed now. What is the first line now? New demo exception. New means, sir, new means one reference is created. Zero x33. New means one reference created. Now object creation starts. Yes or no? Right. You are creating object for whom now? Sir, I am creating object for main class. Yes or no now? So new demo exception 1. We are creating object for main class. While object creation, constructor is called. Now this is constructor call, no? Whatever the knowledge available up to now, you have to apply it. This is constructor call now. This is constructor call or not now? Yes or no? So we are calling the constructor from demo exception 1. So the constructor is coming out. Now the constructor is coming out. I am giving the number 3 now here. Because here 1, 2 is there. Actually 1, 2 will not be there. But again I am giving, because that exception or this exception, only one exception, no? Can I give the number 1 here? You will not be confused, no? Right. Yes or no, na? Can I give the 1 here now? Because that blue line exception not there. Any one exception is there. Okay, right. I am giving 1 here. And now demo exception 1 will come for execution. Demo exception 1 passing message. This demo exception 1 will come for execution. Constructor from main class came for execution. Came for execution. Whenever it came for execution now, this parameter is passed. This message is passed as a parameter. This message is passed as a parameter. Now this constructor will take the message and pass to the parent. I written parent or not now here? Super of message. Do remember inheritance chapter? Yes or no? Super is used to call parameterize the constructor from the parent class. Who is the parent of demo exception 1 now? Exception. So the exception constructor will come out. That's the concept. The exception constructor is coming out because I am calling this constructor. I am calling this constructor. Whenever I call the constructor, super of message, now the constructor from exception will come for execution. So the constructor from exception will come for execution. Will come for execution. So exception constructor is coming for execution. So here string as message. Now this constructor will come for execution. So this constructor will take the parameter. Whatever the parameter you are passing here, message, the message is taken as an message is taken. Now your main class constructor passing the message to exception class constructor. This exception class constructor will pass the message to the parent. Who is the parent of exception? Throwable. At last the message has to reach throwable. That's the target. Now because when the inheritance chapter is going on, I am giving concept. I said. Assignment not there. Concept. So same program I written. Parent class, child class. Parent class, child class. Only concept that is. Today you apply it. Today this is inheritance only with a super keyword. We are passing the message from your user defined class to parents. You are passing a message. Whenever you are passing a message in the form of parameter to constructor, you are passing. Further, it is taking the support of super off. I made a statement to you. Whenever when there is parameterized constructor in the parent class, we have to declare super off to the child class constructor to pass parameter to parameterized constructor. I written a rule to you. The rule you have to apply it. Now I am calling the parent. So who is the parent of exception? Trouble. So trouble will come. That trouble cannot call the exception of parent. Cannot call the constructor of parent because parent is an interface. Interface do not have constructors. You know that theory also. Now the parent class constructor is coming. So that is trouble constructor is coming. At last trouble constructor came. Trouble constructor came. This trouble constructor will take the message. At last message came to trouble. In trouble, some built-in logic will be there. Trouble will have some logic. The trouble constructor will have some logic. Now, it takes the message and bind that message to your object. Invalid basic salary. Now, the message will come and bind here. This is 4. At last, the message is binded to the object. Now, object is holding the message or not now? The message what you given in your user defined class while creating object. See there, I made a statement. Create object for user defined class from where the exception is raised. The exception is raised from demo exception 1. Create object for demo exception 1. While object creation, pass exception message as a parameter. Now you are passing invalid basic salary as parameter. Now the demo exception 1 constructor will take the message and give to parent. The parent will take the message and give to trouble. Trouble will take the message and keep in the object. That only concept. That only internal behavior. Once this work is completed, then this constructor destroys, this constructor destroys, this constructor destroys because the work is over. Their duty is to bind the message to the object while object creation. Now it taken the support of trouble and message. After this one now, see there. Who is the parent of demo exception 1? Exception. Who is the parent of exception? Trouble. Trouble has two methods are there. The 2 methods will come here. I highlighted 2 methods there now. One is get message method. One is print stack trace method. The 2 methods will come here. String get message. Now void print stack trace. Not only two methods, many methods will come. I am highlighting two methods. Now imagine it, two methods are sitting there. Now object created. Observe this point or not now? Object creation ended. Once the object creation has been ended, now this reference, whatever the reference of this object, reference will come to OB. That is a rule or not now? It will come and load on to OB because we are creating object mean the address location will come and load on to object reference variable. Yes or no? Na? Right. If you say no also yes only because you've seen many diagrams now. Today you are not understanding also Venkatesh are not responsible. Because already many levels completed application. Application means the knowledge gained apply here. That's all. Sir, up to now I not yet gained knowledge, sir. I am irregular to class, sir. I never read the notes, sir. I never adapt the knowledge. Means that is not our responsible at the last. Because ultimately everything is a known thing only. You know constructors. You know super keyword. Constructor will be running while object. You know all that theory. That theory ought to apply here. In the RHS one object created. Reference available on OB. Now object creation ended. Now below this I am using throw OB. Throw OB. Throw OB. Now throw OB means address. Throw OB. Whenever I say throw OB, control will come to catch block. Catch demo exception 1 OB. The control will come to catch block like this. From here, the control will come to here. Now, the address came here. Came or not now? The address location came here. If it is a built-in exception, they thrown the reference. If it is a user-defined, I thrown the reference by using one keyword known as throw. Because in interview they'll ask, define throw keyword. If you want to explain throw keyword, you must know this much of story. So that question became very important question. What is the difference between throw and throws? They will listen carefully to you. If you explain the two keywords correctly, you know exception handling. So somebody will speak roughly. Throw is nothing but which throwing exception. They'll speak oral. Then they will think it you by-headed and came. Yesterday night you by-headed that keywords and came. So who had a concept, they'll speak different. Applicative way, they'll speak it. Who by-hearts know? They'll construct the forms, what they read. They'll be by-heading construction will be there, no? They'll be reading that. So throw keyword today, what you observed here now? In the process of handling user-defined exception, we use throw keyword to throw the reference of object from try block to catch block. Reference only. The reference will come there. Once the reference came here now, we write ob dot get message. We are calling the method or not now? Ob dot get message. I am using this or not now? So I am using this ob here. I am using this ob. Ob dot get message means I am calling this message. I am calling this method or not now? The duty of that method is to display the message. So get message method will display this message. All of you understood this now, right? That is the concept. So get message method will display the message as invalid basic salary. So this is the story behind your exception handling. After drawing the diagram, I also will not understand that. So hope you followed me while I am drawing. Yes or no? Whenever it is a user defined exception, we take one condition. Whenever the condition is true, we create object for user defined class. While creating object, we pass the exception message as a parameter. That exception message will be taken by your parameterized constructor and pass the message to parent class exception. There it passes the message to throwable. Throwable will take the message and bind to the object. Whatever the message available in the object, we take the support of get message method to display it. Because of this reason, whenever I am writing try catch in JDBC, I not explained because I must explain this much of story. I must say to them who don't know, they'll ask me in JDBC, sir, what is try catch means? The question is 1 millisecond only, but explanation one session only. We never give that much of session in advanced Java because student has to learn from core Java. The chapter belongs to core. They given a time in the core Java, but student will come to advanced Java and they'll ask what is try catch means. We never explain them. Just we say one exception reaches to catch we say, but this much of detailly we never say there. Because the core Java unit, no, we write detailly here. So there are two exceptions available to you. One is built-in input mismatch exception. One is user defined demo exception 1. If it is a built-in exception, your execution control automatically created object, automatically thrown the reference. But here we only created object. We only thrown the reference. This is a diagram. I'll paste the diagram there. From the above program, we observed, make it. Define get message method. Get message method. Get message method is from throwable class and which is used to display the message from exception object. Get message method is from throwable class and which is used to display the message from exception object. Which is used to display the message from exception object. Message from exception object. Method signature. So public java dot lang dot string get message. Now the syntax is return type is string, some message is equal to object dot get message. Because get message method is a non-static method, you have to access with the object name. So ob dot get message. Get message method is a return type method. So return type is a string. Define print stack trace method. print stack trace method. Print stack trace method. First, let me apply this print stack trace method. Daily I'll be writing in JDBC. In the catch block I'll write. In exception chapter also I'm going to write it. Sir, not exception. Servlet. I'm starting today now practical 11 am. Today the first program coming with the servlet today. In the servlet also we write try catch and we write print stack trace only. So when JSP comes, at last JSP will come. JSP is the response for your servlet. Then in the JSP, this throwable will come there. Whatever the notes I am writing, throwable will come there. That throwable came there as a automatic object there. That only your web container. Yesterday I used one concept web container, no? Tomcat server web container. That web container will create one object automatically for throwable. That's one beauty available. From that throwable, the messages will come to web browser. That only last target. Whenever you make a mistake, one pop-up message will come on. Of course, pop-up message is coming in the form of UI technology. Your JavaScript is there, no? They'll put one pop-up message, no? To send that pop-up message, they had a syntax. But what message you have to send it? The message should come from catch block actually. That much of links are available. So whenever you want to reach the catch block, today you are getting the theory already, how to reach to the catch block. But the message should come to web browser. So in the between, some other links also available. For that, we take the support of JSP, exception handling, UI technology. Then the message will come onto the web browser. This much of links are available. For now, when the disturbance comes, we are moving the control to catch. From the catch, one message is coming. Sir, I want only message. Get message. I want details. See there. I want details. Instead of writing ob.getMessage, I will write ob.printStackTrace. I will write it. What happened? See, details are coming now. Invalid basic salary is the message. Details means the exception is coming from which class, which method, what is the line number. Like this, details will come. That's called print stack trace. Print stack trace method display the details of exception like class name, method name, line number, and message. All are available in that details. Make a statement. Print stack trace method is also from throwable class. Print stack trace method is also from throwable class, and which is used to display the details of exception. The details of exception like print stack trace method is also from throwable class, and which is used to display the details of exception like class name, method name, line number, and exception message. And message. Enough. And message. Method signature. So public void print stack trace. Syntax ob dot print stack trace. ob dot print stack trace. So these two methods I am taking from throwable. Lag no. Get message method, print stack trace. These two methods you must remember. These two methods will come to JSP. I only will write the code to you in 11 AM, right? It's my responsibility to send that message to web browser in advance. Then exception handling will be ended. Concept here, application there. Application means what? My message should come to web browser. But on that day, you must know JavaScript on that day. All of you started JavaScript. In JavaScript, one message will come, no pop-up message. There or not there? Yes or no? HTML is there? Any pop-up message available there? HTML? Right. In scripting also you had that pop-up. Now Angular, no, of course Angular choice not there for you. But if I take UI technologies, that your Java, your HTML code you can write with Java in JSP. That is only concept. That only I am asking you to update and come. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, update before JSP. Because when you are writing a Java program, inside you can write HTML code. That only JSP. Directly in the program only you can write HTML code. JSP that only. Because JSP is the response. What you are learning from your HTML trainer, that all codes you can bring to Java and HTML. You can mix and write in one program. That is JSP program. So there on that day you must know scripting. So it will be more easy for you. Even I also will write script to you on that day. Right? Java developers by default UI engineers. You must know. Java developers by default DB engineers. You must know. Java developers by default not testers. We never do testing. But by default you must know UI technology. By default you must know database. Any one database. Any one UI technology. HTML, CSS, JavaScript common. In your resume they are common. If you are adding Angular, the weight of your resume will be very high. Your role is Java developer only, but I know Angular. Knowing Angular is one advantage to you, because Java developer knowing Angular means heavy weight, no? Angular is a specialized for your UI engineer. But Java developer knowing Angular means I am heavyweight. I can do. That's the meaning. I know Bootstrap. The resume weight will be very high. I know HTML, I know CSS, I know Angular, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, Bootstrap. Heavy weight will be there. Already in Java, you know, core Java, advanced Java, Spring and web service. Resume weight will be very high. That only they are expecting from you. Third, next category, testing. Of course. Full stack developer. If you don't have hands also, no problem here and there. Because specialized engineer is there. But this one you have to update it. Core, advanced, Spring, web service from UI, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Angular, Bootstrap. They are all available in your full stack. If you update that all in your resume, definitely call will come. That only your market. We are preparing the students. That is the certification mode, that only. So testing, of course, Java developer busy in development. After development only testing will come. So you can have less hands on them. That only. Of course, tools mandatory. That only last part is tools. Anyway, update very fastly for JavaScript, and if possible, Angular next coming batch. My course is coming to end. Within 10-12 days, your course will be ended. Anyway, after that, you can go for Angular next batch. Right. Now, these are the two methods to be remembered. I use one keyword known as throw. Right? Make it. Define throw. FAQ. Define throw. Define throw keyword. So what you observed from the above diagram throw now, sir, throw keyword is used to throw the reference of exception object onto catch block. The statement. In the process of handling user defined exceptions. In the process of handling user defined exceptions. In the process of handling user defined exceptions. In the process of handling user defined exceptions, we use throw keyword to throw the reference of exception object onto catch block. In the process of handling user defined exceptions, we use throw keyword to throw the reference of exception. Here exception object means your object. Exception object onto catch block. Generally, you will write throw keyword is used to throw the exception onto catch block. You'll speak generally. Don't speak general. Speak some unique. Suppose 10 people came to interview. If you are speaking unique, no, they'll concentrate on you only. One person got a job already. Speak unique only. Don't speak general. So 10 people came means your elaboration should be unique. They must feel. So everybody will read and come. You also by heading, they also by heading. But speak some unique way. So among the 10, if you are speaking some unique way, you are presenting in a unique way, you are presenting everything in a diagrammatic way, means definitely will be they'll concentrate. What this person, where you learned from and where you are coming from. Definitely concentration will be there. So that you have to make a uniqueness. Because the definition is throwing the reference. I am saying reference of exception object. I am not saying throwing the exception onto catch block. I am not saying. Throwing exception. I am saying throwing the reference of exception object onto catch block. Diagram is there. Diagram is there. This is throw keyword. Right. In the process of handling user defined exceptions, we use throw keyword to throw the reference of exception object onto catch block. So these are the points you observed from the above. Now, I'll take assignment only. Try assignment. So known assignment only. So read student name anyway. Read branch. Okay, right. Read roll number. Now branch must be in CSC, EC, triple, if not exception here. There if else conditions are there for you, right? Here exception. And roll number length 10, if not exception. That small program you write it in the form of exception. Here assignment, write a program to demonstrate exception handling process student details. Right. What is first one now? Read student name. No issue. Read branch. What is the condition now? Branch must be in CSE or ECE or triple E. If not, exception. If not, raise exception. Raising exception means what? What is a raise exception means what now? Create object for user defined class and throw the reference onto catch block. Read roll number. BRAN. Roll number must be LENGTH, length 10. If not, raise exception. If exceptions are not raised, then display the following. Of course, student name, branch, and roll number. Don't touch the marks, right? Just you try by seeing above program, you try this once and come up to here. Okay. Now, I'll give the solution for this program by tomorrow. You must try once today by seeing the above program and explanation, whether you are able to present that concept here and do something or not. You have to test it. Okay, right? First construct the program normally, then modify and come. If not, if you understood the concept, present it through that program. Already logic is there for you, right? Only that if else conditions you must modify into exception handle. You try that. Now, make a shading now. Types of checked exceptions. Checked exceptions means what now? The exceptions which are identified by the compiler and raised at compilation stage are known as checked exceptions. Checked exceptions are categorized into two types. Built-in checked exceptions. Built-in checked exceptions user defined checked exceptions, built-in checked exceptions and user defined checked exceptions. The checked exceptions which are available from Java library. The checked exceptions which are available from Java library are known as built-in checked exceptions or predefined checked exceptions. Predefined checked exceptions. The checked exceptions which are available from Java library are known as built-in checked exceptions or predefined checked exceptions. Example for checked exceptions: java.lang. Interrupted exception, java.sql exception, JDBC, java.io exception. These are the popular ones you can see. Right. To explain that built-in checked exception, I will take one method. FAQ, define sleep method. One method is there, sleep. Define sleep method. Sleep means sleep only. Sleep method is used to stop the program execution temporarily on some timer. Means this method will stop the execution engine. It stops. If I given some timer to sleep method, suppose 2000 milliseconds if I given, it stops the execution engine. Execution engine you stop for 2000 milliseconds. Developer asked. Like this, the sleep method has power to stop the execution on some time. Make it sleep method. Sleep method is used. Sleep method is used to stop the program execution. The program execution temporarily on some timer. Sleep method is used to stop the program execution temporarily on some timer. It can stop it. Now, this sleep method is a built-in method. Built-in method from java.lang.thread class. This sleep method is a built-in method from java.lang.thread class. So already the method is available to you. It's a built-in method from java.lang.thread class. It is a built-in method. Right. So let me open that thread class now once and let me look into this method. Java P java.lang.thread. Thread class having one method known as sleep overloading method. Anyway, I am using this method, sleep method. I am using this one, right? Okay. So method signature, in what form it is available? So public static native void sleep of long throws java.lang.interrupted exception. At last, throws keyword has been introduced. Public static native void sleep throws java.lang.interrupted exception. This is the method signature. Now, here, so public. What is public? And sir, access within project. Yes or no? Access within project. Static means what now? Sir, you can say class level component. You can access with the class name. So static method is there means sleep method is accessed with the class name. So thread dot sleep, I can say. Native. Anybody can say what is native? What is native? So native means, do you remember JVM? Right, native. Native. Native means in JVM, we had C and C++. Do you remember? C and C++ methods. Right, okay. Here, C or C++ coded method. C or C++ coded method. Now, void means non-return type or return type? Non-return type. Void means non-return type, no? Right. So sleep is a method name. Sleep is a method. And long is one parameter. This is one parameter. This is long is one parameter. At last, our target came now. This is a new thing or not now? So remaining all you can understand, no? Yes or no? Right. In advanced Java also I run the same. There I separated there. Now we are here. So throws means what? Throws means ignore the exception in current method and raise at method call. So the meaning of this is, ignore means what? Sir, ignore means leaving or not considering, whatever it may be. So throws java.lang.interrupted exception. Throws java.lang.interrupted exception. The meaning, ignore that interrupted exception in the same method. Ignore the exception here and raise it method call. The exception should be raised at method call. That's the meaning of it. Throws keyword says that ignore the exception in current method. In the sleep method, you don't consider the exception. Raise the exception at method call. Somebody will call that sleep method. There you raise the exception. That's the meaning of it. Right. Now, what is the syntax behind it now? Here, syntax. So this diagram will be pasted there as a notes. The syntax finally. Sir, static keyword is there. Void is there. So we call with the class name. So thread dot sleep of long means some timer. Some time should be given. So time should be given. So can I stop here? There. So tomorrow I'll explain that throws keyword bit clearly. Okay, right. You try today's assignment once and come. Now I'll upload the notes in 5 minutes to you. So try that assignment by your own once. Tomorrow I'll explain throws keyword clearly. And we are going for user defined also, this one. Our target. Tomorrow I am making you to understand this one. After understanding this, I'll write the solution. This solution I'll write it. Okay, right. Take a break. Thank you very much for today.